Liverpool will look to end their disappointing run of 4 defeats in a row tomorrow evening when they travel to Eintracht Frankfurt, but they could be without midfielder Ryan Gravenberch. Gravenberch didn't take part in training this afternoon after he twisted his ankle during Sunday's game against Manchester United, and that means he'll be unlikely to travel to Germany tomorrow with the squad. Alexis McAllister was out there though, despite picking up a head injury at the weekend. Arne Slot left with plenty of decisions then on who could start against Eintracht Frankfurt tomorrow evening, with his side desperate to find form again.
Hugo Ekitike is going back with his new club in Liverpool, playing up against his former club in Eintracht Frankfurt. And there's a big question of, is he going to start? Is he going to be on the bench? For you, it feels like there's no hesitation that he will be starting in this matchup.
He should be starting. I think Liverpool have some raised eyebrows after their performance of the weekend. 1 loss is one thing, 2 losses is another. 3 is starting to raise a few concerns. 4, this is now code red. Okay, now we need to change a couple of things up. And I think Hugo Ekitike probably will be one of the first players to knock on the manager's door and say, so how long do you need me for on midweek? Because I should be starting. Because the threat that he had actually when he came off the bench against Manchester United was incredible. Couple of shots in the 28 minutes or whatever else that he came on. But it's the directness, it's the link up. They just look a more cohesive team when Hugo is on the pitch. And sometimes you can't necessarily go reputation, transfer fees. The manager has to trust his eye test, and his eye test is telling that Ekitike is my most confident forward, and I have to put players in the position to be successful.
Do you agree with that? Do you guys agree that it should be a no-brainer that he does start in this matchup?
Yeah, particularly in this specific game against his former team, given the really, really atrocious form that Liverpool were in, how bad the attack has looked, how much better it looked when he got off the bench and onto the pitch against Manchester United. In this specific context, it's an absolute no-brainer. And right now, as JD said, code red, that's a perfect turn of phrase. It is absolutely a code red in Liverpool.
Yeah, you have to start playing what makes sense. And right now, keeping Alexander Isak, the Isak experiment of trying to force him into fitness through games isn't working. He's not sharp enough. You go back to Manchester United, 1v1, that's what you paid the money for. Hugo Ekitike would have finished that chance. He started the season brightly, and there's a bit of motivation for him. And he wants to show that he is the main man, as you said. And Dino Topmuller, he is going to be sleeping, maybe having nightmares, thinking, if Ekitike is on the field, then this is going to be a long day. If Isak's on the pitch, I'm sleeping well.
Yeah. What about Florian Wirtz? Do you feel like it's a no-brainer to keep him on the bench where he's been the past 2 games? You disagree with that?
The only reason why I disagree is because of the team that they're playing, right? And I start to look at, let's start breaking it down in terms of where they've been. They've conceded a couple of goals at Freiburg, 3 at Bayern, 5 at Atleti, which we saw in the last Champions League, 4 goals at Gladbach, and I've got an attacking midfielder which I've paid a huge amount of money for. This is an opportunity for him to establish himself, get confidence back in his lungs, and more importantly, really showcase that I am that top player. So there's going to be gaps in this team. Clearly they're struggling defensively. Clearly the confidence isn't there in terms of from a cohesion perspective. So if I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, well, maybe the Frankfurt game is a turning point for his season. Because Florian Wirtz, let's not get confused. This is still a really good player. You don't fall from the levels that he's fallen to where his confidence is right now and say that, nah, he's not going to be able to return. He's young enough, he's ambitious enough, and what's everybody said about him? All of the board of directors, everybody has spoken about his mentality. So now is an opportunity to showcase your mentality. Now is an opportunity to showcase that I do believe in myself. I can really lead this team. And if given the opportunity in terms of in this slot system, I really think that this could be a great opportunity for him. Yeah,
I'm excited to see him back in Germany and back on stable ground. And I love the combination and the chemistry between him and Ekitike. But I'm going to throw this out there. Liverpool should go with a front line of Ekitike as a number 9. Cody Gakpo, I don't care what Liverpool fans said, he was their best player against Manchester United. I think he deserves to keep his spot. And Federico Chiesa,
I knew he was going to
start over Mohamed Salah, and I'm believing. Arne Slot, man, listen to me. No, I want to see that front 3 roll out. It brings a bit of balance. It brings a bit of chemistry. It brings a bit of energy and work rate. And that's what you're going to get with both Ekitike, Wirtz, and I don't even think Chiesa on there, because Florian Wirtz giving him the freedom to shade to the left. Ekitike has the flexibility to go wherever he wants. And this is the sort of match and this is the sort of occasion that I think we could see Florian Wirtz get off the mark and get either his first goal or first assist. I don't know what the betting odds are, but I have a good feeling about this.
Are there mixed feelings here at the desk about benching Salah? I think you are a bit iffy, but Tom, I want to hear from you first.
For me, I wouldn't call it a benching. There are going to be, 60 matches Liverpool play? Hopefully 60 matches, depending on how early they get knocked out in other competitions. if there's that many games with this many players in the attack, an attack not playing well, I don't view it as a benching. I view it as rotation. Now, the bigger issue is I don't know the long-term solution. There are not enough complementary pieces to each other in this attack, in this team. So what are the best qualities, let's say, of the fullbacks? Is to play like wingbacks. Kirkaz looks so much better on international duty than he does with Liverpool because he's asked to play a little bit of a different role to try to accommodate Wirtz, Isak, Ekitike, Gakpo, Salah. So that front three, they all want to play like inside forwards. Again, the two center forwards, obviously, and then Mo Salah's at his best when he gets to be in that inside channel. Well, to accommodate that, you need both wingbacks to go forward. Well, then to make Wirtz make more sense in the team, you need to have an attacking midfielder, so one of the fullbacks can't go at all times. Every decision and every potential answer creates another problem. And that's where I'm most worried about with this team, because whatever the best 11 is or the best system for the group, it's going to leave a lot of money on the bench, and it's going to leave a lot of investments. The best system for the group, it's going to leave a lot of money on the bench, and it's going to leave a lot of investments in a bad spot.
What are you thinking, JD?
I'm concerned if you drop Mohamed Salah for this game, you might lose Mohamed Salah mentally. And that's just a hunch. I have no inside information on that. There are certain players in the team, and you'll know this, right? Because you did a lot of the doggy work for players that you carried them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's certain players that you carry because you know in any moment they could create magic. Mohamed Salah is definitely in that category. And what's made Mohamed Salah so effective over his career is the short-term memory. And when I say short-term memory, it doesn't matter if he has a bad game, he'll come into the next one with the same ambition, same hunger, doing the same runs, and all of a sudden, those misses from the previous game now look like goals. He's the type of player he can ignite at any point. Liverpool go as far as Salah goes. So I'm looking for any opportunity to ignite his season. He has started poorly, but I'm going to say this is a small sample size for someone who is a legend at that club. So I'm saying, look, I'm going to double down and I'm going to trust that you're going to get yourself out of this slump. And this could be another opportunity for him to do so.
I like that too. And again, I'm totally good with that line of thinking. And I think that probably would be, if I had to guess, where Arne Slot is going to go. But I just want to take back to something you said. This could be a game for Salah to get right. After we said this could be a game for Wirtz to get right. After we said this could be a game for Cody Gakpo to shine. Or maybe Hugo Ekitike coming back in the team. That's so many ifs and so many players that we need to focus on as, hey, that player probably needs to get right. That's too many for one game.
Well, whose fault is this? This is Liverpool's fault for doing the recruitment in the way that you've done it in terms of these huge transfer fees and bringing all of this talent. Why do you think historically clubs have always said we're going to buy one marquee signing? Because then we know we only have to immerse or integrate one player into our system. When you integrate so many, as well as having the contract situations that they had from last year and the rollover from last year and the drama and the egos that have left that change room as well, what did you expect? This team right now is going through emotional turmoil because of their own challenges, losing a teammate, but also the other things that's occurring in there. The integration of new players into a system with a manager that's, let's be honest, is still pretty fresh. He's still pretty fresh in terms of getting to know these personalities. He knows he has to win them over mentally. How you win them over mentally is by keeping the key players engaged, the leaders in your changing room. That's your Virgil, that's your Mo Salahs. You need to keep them engaged, so trusting them to work through their slumps.
And I go the other way, is Virgil van Dijk is the easier guy in the back line. But at what point, if Mohamed Salah keeps not scoring goals, you're going to trust him out of a job? Because the pressure's ratcheting up on Arne Slot. And I get what you're saying, but at a certain point, the thing about Mohamed Salah that I always admired was the juice was always worth the squeeze. He could go missing for 89 minutes, but he would always deliver you that match-winning moment. I'm not saying Mohamed Salah is a club legend. He's a living legend. He's a living icon. But at some point, Liverpool have made these investments to think about the future. And I think this could be a good opportunity for them to just witness what life without Mohamed Salah looks like, moving forward in the Champions League. I'm not saying Mohamed Salah doesn't play whatsoever, but I would like to see that front three that I said, because Liverpool need to change something. And in the midfield as well, bring on Curtis Jones, man. It's about time we see Curtis Jones. We can disagree about lineups, but that midfield has been a sieve. That midfield, the back line, they've been a massive problem. Curtis Jones will help significantly in that.
I'm just going to go really quickly, just one comparison. When the passing of the torch happened in terms of David Silva to Kevin De Bruyne and Kevin De Bruyne to Phil Foden, they were handed from player to player. It wasn't, we're taking you out and we're putting this player in. That's how you lose a changing room, because then you're divided in terms of the players that have loved this player and have affiliated themselves with this player is saying, well, I'm going to ride with KDB, or When the grace that you hear when you talk about Phil Foden, talk about those legends before him, is because he knows that those players pass the torch to him. If Liverpool want to make it seamless, they have to allow Mohamed Salah to pass the torch onto the Florian Wirtz, to pass the torch onto your Alexander Isaks, to make them understand the weight, the gravitas, and the gravity of wearing the Liverpool and being the main man. If it happens another way, you might lose a changing room.